Good work from Epsilon that game. Let's go into picks and bans for game 2, though. Dignitas have a big ask of themselves. Now, they're 1-6 after that game. What can they do to come back?
It started nicely in the beginning of the game. I like to see what we saw out of Dignitas early on. They made the right ganks in the solo lane. They made the right things happen. Epsilon, to their credit, made the better things happen in response. Now, what can Dignitas do here to either stop that response or continue the aggression, continue the calculated aggression that we saw early in game 1?
I mean, you said this at the start of the game. It was, apart from the first blood, for the most part, it was Dignitas with the aggressors and really did well with that. Can they actually continue to pressure but not lose kills elsewhere is the question. Same bands.
No surprise here. I'm going to see the Giannis band one more time from Team Dignitas. It's just standard play of their playbook, and don't let adapting get the jungler we're afraid of.
Yep, so that's going to be taken away. But, we saw his Thor play last game. It wasn't that bad. Ao Kwang, once again, Epsilon banning that one away, constantly banning that one. They don't want to have to deal with it, especially if it's first pickable. And there's a good call from Dignitas. Take away Sylvanus from Rafa. Rafa, after that game, 7-0 on it.
He's undefeated. Of course you got to take it away. First pick goes to Team Dignitas' support player. Frezzy will be playing the Sylvanus. An Epsilon option over to them. They now get 2 picks.
Generally, we see in this situation that Rafa will head towards a warrior, maybe even Odin, because he deals with Sylvanus very well. There's the Neith pick as well for Emilito. So far before this game, he'd played it 3 times this season, and the only times he's not picked it is when it's been picked away from him. And right now, he instantly locks it in.
Waiting for the next pick. It will be the Thor. So adapting, reprising his role on Thor. Interesting. Epsilon, almost every time we see this team play, it's the adapting show. Anytime you ask anybody, it's the adapting show. He won MVP of the summer split without making land. Didn't really do too much in that game last time around as far as like above and beyond. He did exactly what he's supposed to do. But that's not what we expect from adapting these days.
I mean, he got himself up there in the jungle as the MVP, like you said, and he's done great work for his team throughout the whole split. People start to recognize him on a national level now in terms of like America really taking notice of his abilities too.
Oh, yeah.
Fenrir going to be locked in on Rama. Fenrir we didn't see last game, and neither did Rama, so Ren's going to default back to that one.
Ren's is... He likes his Neith, as you said, taken away from him. Going to go Rama, very, very potent character these days. I mean, maybe he's just watching Snoopy games.
No, Ren's had it before Snoopy, but at the same time, whatever. But they've all had it since he was released.
I agree. I'm just...
We've not had no mid for the mid laner here. Sorry, no mid from Dignitas here. That's why we see the Agni ban from Epsilon. And the one thing about Shadow Nightmare is his god pool is deep. He does like to try different things out. We've seen a lot of Jean-Kui out of him before. We've also seen him try Hades last week as well. Will we see the same again is the question.
Honestly, I'd like to see the Ra.
Great Odin ban. Great Odin ban by Dignitas. They just realize what the potential is.
They understand Epsilon's game.
They understand what Rafa could go with. And we've seen Dimmy do it too. It's a double header threat. Let's take it away.
New Wa being picked one more time for Yaman. I mean, if he's going to play the way he played it.
That'd be Dimmy, that. That'd be Ramen. So Yami mid as Isis, and we'll see the Yaman go solo.
You don't think we're going to see the solo Isis like Salia did?
I don't think so. Unless it's some special strat. I think that's New Wa solo.
Poseidon, no surprise. Very, very good god. 2.0 KDA historically for Shadow Nightmare on Poseidon in the mid lane. And Ra, now that throw me for a loop because this is also a character. This is the one that I ask for, Hindu Man. I love Shadow Nightmare's Ra. He does great work on the Ra. So the Ra in the Sylvanus comp might force an early weakening curse onto the side of Epsilon.
You reckon it's Ra for Shadow Nightmare?
Yes. I would love it to be Ra for Shadow Nightmare.
It could be Ra for Variety. Variety's Ra, he's used to play quite a lot back in the day when he was on Coast. One of his go-to solo laners. And with the mages coming back, he could go that. But I agree, it could go either way, this one.
I mean, yeah, the Poseidon Ra flip-flop both ways. And as you said, Variety known for the Ra previously. Geb going to be played by...
but Shadow Snipes are on point as well, so you're right.
That's what I'm talking about. I want to see Shadow Nightmare play the Ra, but I think I'm with you. I think once we get into the game, which will be right now, as we get into game number 2, we will see that it's Shadow Nightmare on the Isis.
Oh, it wasn't a Ra, it was a Sun Wukong. We have a small production technical issue here.
Well, folks, Neith in the jungle right now, being piloted by hi-rez. This is most likely game number 1. I'll wait for confirmation before we actually call it. I do think that this is the incorrect game, but for now, we'll just ride along. Neith waiting here, so maybe the picks and bans were incorrect.
Maybe picks and bans were incorrect. It's exactly the same team codes. We'll see.
Yeah. So just apologies, folks. This is actually game number 1, so we're going to go and take ourselves out of it. Bring us back here to the studio.
I wonder who won that.
I'm smiling and the camera's not catching me.
I wonder who won that game.
Yeah, they can't see my face yet.
They can't see your face yet. That's a shame. Now you're not
Oh,
smiling.
there it is. Well, I'm not smiling anymore.
Apologies for that. It will be up shortly with you for game 2. He's going to quickly correct that issue. As you can see, we did the picks and bans for you, but we brought you the wrong footage, and that's not something we really
Well, now
do.
we get to continue to banter about if it's going to be Ra or Poseidon in that mid lane.
I want to say it's Ra.
So, I mean, I'm taking a look at Shadow Nightmare. He plays Giannis, Poseidon, and Ra. Those are historically his top 3 gods. And variety, so Poseidon isn't anywhere on there, but we do know from the Coast days that that's
he's
what
played
he plays.
Ra, so I'd expect him to be more than likely. So he's played Ra in that solo lane. I've never seen him play Poseidon in that solo lane. We have seen Poseidon in the solo lane before by Dimmy.
Dimmy, his old Coast teammate.
But we'll see what we're going to do. Because to be fair, what you could see is Noir versus Poseidon is an interesting matchup more than anything else. Because Noir's looking for push power, while Poseidon has the same amount of push power in that lane, in fairness.
I mean, Poseidon's whole jam is pushing the lane.
However, Isis versus Poseidon is an even push trade as well, and that's why they might have picked Poseidon for mid. Ra versus Noir in the solo lane, pretty much standard matchup, and Ra will have push power.
Ra and Poseidon both bring extraordinary lane push. You've got the Whirlpool, which is going to clear the wave by, level 0, essentially.
But Isis has the Wind Gust. The reason we're bringing up push power here as well, just for you guys at home, with the push power, what you generally end up seeing is that the one that gets the push power has the opportunity to rotate to the enemy jungle early. We saw it in game 1 where Epsilon picked up that first blood because they got the push power.
It is going to be variety on the Ra. I'm upset. I want to see Shadow Nightmare bring the Ra back. It's one of my favorite gods to watch Shadow Nightmare play, honestly. But we will be seeing variety, as you said, in the Coast days. We used to see Ra in that solo lane.
For variety as well, so far this season, all we've seen him on is a couple of Warriors and Kronos.
So
going back to the old days of his healers, he used to play some Chunga, he played some Ra, he played some Aphrodite. We've also seen the patch notes for next week after a Weakening Curse getting nerfed. Maybe we'll start seeing even more of these healers in the solo.
Yeah, it's going from 100% to 65. That is a large nerf for next week.
It's a large chunk, but at the same time, it's still going to hurt. I mean, it's still going to affect healers, right?
Oh,
just maybe not as potent as it once was. Still going to be over the same course of time as well. And start of the game, buff-wise, we're going to see a pretty much standard out of each team. Both the mid laners taking the red buff, both the solo and duo starting, solo and jungle starting speed and blue.
Look at that push power. That's what we were talking about earlier during the main screen. A lot of damage coming out in the dual lane, actually. Frezzy able to heal that up. Raffer, on the other hand, not so much. And Malitu will, though, does have Unravel available to heal himself up a little bit, which is why you see usually Aussie built second. Damage coming out from adapting. Still very, very early on in this game. Nobody wants to aggress too much.
Wow.
They don't want to give up first blood.
Dignitas and Frostiak wanted to aggress there. Like, they had the right-hand harpies for free because Adapting gave them up, but they wanted to fight that engagement. They didn't find the pick, though, which is unfortunate for them. They wanted to contest, and they may lose the right ones here as well. Can you just bring up experience for a second, Zayden? I just want to see where those mid-harpies went. No, they went even, and now the right ones go to Epsilon, so they come out on top, I believe, on that experience exchange.
Epsilon does wind up the better of the two in that situation. Shadow Nightmare alone here in this mid lane, but that's the power of the push that we were talking about. Isis will be able to do the same thing with the Wind Gust. Frenzy stuck out. Do a great Spirit Arrow.
This is a very even lane in terms of push power. Rama, single target focus for the most part, unless he wants to burn mana through. Neith, great push power. Geb, not so much. So it trades out. It trades out, but at the same time, they're going to have the sustain for Sylvanus, keeping out for pulls, especially if Epsilon stays so aggressive. They're going to try and keep being that way, but if Rezi gets a big pull off, it could change things in that lane drastically.
Frostiak really wants to make a rotation almost as soon as he hits 5. Now, what he can impact this mid lane if Kraken comes online, able to just get the stun and help his buddy out. But really, it's about that Ragnarok. You want to put your enemy in harm's way, so look for Frostiak to get a little bit more farm before making the jump.
Well, right now, as we stand, we can see they should all be hitting level 5 in the mid lane. Yamin has reached it first. Shadow Nightmare will ding any moment. And Frostiak can adapt in a little bit off the pace, but they should get it off this next wave in the mid lane too.
Shadow Nightmare looking at his level very, very closely. Hit 5, and the Kraken, this is one of the most stark differences between a level 4 and a level 5 character is Poseidon himself. He goes from a lane pusher levels 1 through 5, and as soon as the Kraken comes online, he is a 100-0 threat, no matter what.
Keep an eye on Yaman, sorry, not on Yaman. Emelito did just get his ultimate online right now. He does hit 5 just before hi-rez as well, because Rafa rotated to mid lane, which means he's soaked experience a little bit longer. There could be a big gamp attempt from Epsilon here.
Still in the mid lane, though, is Frostiak. Everybody's pretty much where they want to be. No surprises on the map right now. Junglers joining their mid laners. Variety in his own lane. Variety's playing this cheeky, though. Every time he clears the wave, which is relatively simple because he's a Ra, he'll just dip into the jungle.
Yep.
Not making the full rotation, Hindu. It's like when we see the Neith ult come out of Emelito.
It's the whole plan of making sure you're not available on the map so they don't know where they are. See, Emelito's got nothing to farm.
Exactly.
So he channels the ultimate, threatening it. He couldn't fire it mid. They don't know. He does this time and time again now. Really interesting playstyle. But like you were saying, Variety, he dips in the jungle like he is now. Maybe he's basing, maybe he's rotating, maybe he's doing his blue buff. You don't know.
It's the exact same play
well,
that we just saw
Emelito
do. Yeah, but it's the exact same play that we just saw Emelito do with the Neith ult. Just get in your head, play around a little bit.
So no one's really gone back to base just yet. Just the mages in mid lane. You can see they're working on their boots as well. I like the fact Yamin went back to base, got beads and Aegis as well.
There's the Ragnarok into the Kraken. That's going to be problematic for everyone involved. Rafa!
He's going to die to the Wisp Dot though, and now Ren's just up to the sky looking for the sniper. He's going to have to change his location targets. He's looking for Yamin, doesn't find the third one. Doesn't get dunked because a great roll away from him. But Frezzy's a little bit out of position, and he's going to fall in trade.
First blood goes to Rafa, believe it or not, on the Geb of all characters. And then Epsilon follows it up. So 2-1 are the kills. Dignitas with 1.
Surprised he didn't get the burst damage off to kill Rafa there in that situation. I thought he would do with the Kraken coming out. But Rafa survived with the barest amount of health and turned it around. Ended up forcing the trade 1-for-1. And getting first blood, what do you want mind for that?
Not at all. Not at all. Variety going to farm up just a little bit in lane, level 7, to Dimmy's level 8.
Actually, no, I didn't get first blood. Did he get first blood? You sure get first blood? Are you sure he wasn't? It was Frezzy first blood, right? Frezzy's Wisps killed him before anybody else died. I feel that's the case. Maybe not. We'll find out at the end. We'll find out at the end when we do the first blood replay. But I wasn't 100% certain. You can see in the gold that Epsilon has it, so maybe it was Epsilon's because you get bonus gold for the first blood, then a normal kill.
500 bonus actually.
Nice little bonus.
Large chunk of change. Duo lane, pretty even here. About a half level separating the two hunters, but that's pretty much just, you know, not too much to talk about in the sense of that difference.
Yeah, I mean, that difference happens when the supports rotate away from the lane. They're still farming the same amount of creeps. Nobody's really missed anything in the lane. It's more to do with, like, when the supports rotate, do you get a small lead base of it? Once again, Will Weaver channeled, nothing's going to come of it. The pull, though, is a threat, and Frezzy went for it on Emelito then. They know it's on cooldown for a few seconds.
Yep. A few seconds? That is a long cooldown on the pull here, man.
Starts at 18, I believe, and then... Oh, sorry, it's 24 at the start, I believe, and then reduces down.
It is a long cooldown. 30. Starts at 30 seconds, goes all the way down to 18.
We really nerfed that into the ground, and he still played. It was never that long. I don't remember it being 30 for a long time.
Fun fact, old Arachne's pull, 30-second cooldown.
Hey.
Wasn't ult.
Wasn't ult as well, but it did stun too. I guess at the same. To be fair, Frezzy's does as well, so I think like Sylvanus does. Warrior Tabby finished though for Emelito. Will he go for the Soul? I always forget the name of that one. Why can I not remember it? I always forget it.
Soul Eater!
Thank you. I always say Soul Reaver, but Dunk coming out from the Thor. Adapting, going to try and pick up Renz. Renz is dead when he lands unless he gets a rotation, but unfortunately his team are
even if he does get a rotation, he'll die. It's just a matter of if the rotation will be able to clean anyone up. The answer is no. Epsilon puts a third kill into their column. Blinking in is the dog tree combo. And that answer is yes. Frezzy turns that around. Ragnarok is used right into the combination. Pull! Kraken! Death is Rafa! Heal is good, actually. Rafa will get out. No problem as Yamin makes the kill on the Shadow Nightmare with the rotation.
They just don't have the damage, though. Shadow Nightmare combining nicely with Frostiak. And Frostiak's in trouble here and heading into the enemy jungle. Rafa feels how confident he is. He's still wandering after him as well to throw those in-hands in. Over the wall comes the Spirit Ball to stop the leap. Yamin's going to be there with a Wing Gust. Frostiak turns his attention to Rafa. But he's still not going to find the kill. Rafa, they tried to kill Rafa again.
I thought Rafa was dead for sure, but it was a great circle of protection heal that came out of the rotation from Yamin's Isis that allowed Rafa to live. And then The continuation was Rafa continued baiting and adapting was allowed to get the kills.
I want to call out Dignitas for that, though, because Frostiak played that perfectly. He blinked in, got the backflip off Emelito, unchained onto him, picked up the kill, and then had presence of mind to Ragnarok turn around and pick up another person and bring him back to the Kraken that was coming. It's just a shame it was a damn Geb, you know? If it was anything but Geb, that was dead.
Just picked up the closest character to him.
Well, it was the only one in that direction.
Exactly. Great
so
play.
Like, well,
that's everything that was supposed to happen for Team Dignitas happened. It was just, I don't want to say luck of the draw, but unfortunately, that was a gap.
I mean, well, it's also the fact that Yamin came in with a heal, right? Because Geb was still dead. However, if it was any other god than Geb, then Yamin's heal wouldn't have impacted that. Changed that.
He would have been dead
scenario
already.
At all. Exactly. So. Switches and changes between the two, but Epsilon now find themselves at 5 and 2 as a pole connects from Frezzy onto Rafa. He's not going to worry too much. He's almost unkillable. It's not been often we said that about Geb for a while, though, but this game's kind of showing the strength of that Guardian in terms of survivability. Even once he gets past the first level to level 5, he's actually a lot more survivable.
You can't crit him either. Well, you can, it just deals less damage.
Just deals less damage.
It's something that, I mean, we were talking about this off screen, actually, maybe a day or two ago. You don't actively think about it. You still build crit as a hunter, right? And it doesn't really change your thought process.
You still hit him.
Unless you're playing Naja. But it doesn't really come into mind. Cataclysm used in the long lane just to disrupt a little bit. Nothing happening right there. But the survivability Geb's passive gives you winds up being huge.
Shadow Nightmare may be a casualty of war, not by choice here once more. Kraken force beads in response from Adapting. The beads from Shadow Nightmare as well were taking out that. And honestly, that was more for the gank that they were looking for onto Rend that ended up seeing Shadow Nightmare get potentially killed.
Kraken down, that's going to be a big boon for Epsilon, understanding that that threat of the 100 to 0 is not available for a while.
It's not, but at the same time, Epsilon used a lot in that engagement. If you see it, Dimmy's ult down, Adapting's ult down, Rafa and Emelito combining to try and pick up Rens on that engagement. So both teams probably going to rest up a little bit here and chill and just continue farming because no one's really got anything. Maybe Frostiak, though. We should potentially see a pick onto Dimmy in the solo. Wouldn't be a bad call right now.
Not a bad call at all. Frostiak with the ultimate still available along with Variety in that solo lane. That might be where he turns his eyes. It's where Adapting certainly can go.
I want to know if Adapt's over there. Adapt's over there for the blue buff more than anything else. And I think he realizes he's just going to go back to farm once more with his ultimate being down and the rest of the team not in a position to do anything. They did get those beads, though, off Rens, which were 180 seconds there because they were beads 1. So keep an eye on if they do go back to trying to gank Rama very, very soon in this lane.
Still separated by about half a level here. Ram and Neith. Frenzy's going to join in the classic Guardian Hunter matchup.
It's just more when you see the supporters doing that, they're just getting the Traveler Shoes gold off as much as possible. Just get the gold, rotate away again. Yamin, sorry, Emelito charging ult one more time just in case somebody's around. But once more, there's no farm, so why not do anything apart from just charge ult and sit back and relax?
Adapting's going to make his way to the mid lane as well, just to help out his friend, Shadow Nightmare, all alone, and the pressure. I love the intelligence of Shadow, not the intelligence, although it's a smart move, but just the presence of mind. There are 3 people in my lane, I believe.
They're going to find Emelito, but the beads are going to come out to stop the Ragnarok. The root did force him in place. Luckily, though, he brutalized away from the tower. Willweaver being channeled, but there'll be no engage for now, but keep an eye on Rafa and Adapting. I think Adapting's up in the sky, and there's an ult as well from Yamin.
Down comes Adapting, but I mean, there's another stun. That's enough time for Rafa to get involved. The knockup and the damage. Frezzy will fall. Adapting with another kill on the jungler. Frostiak forced out of the fight. Ram is still here, but in comes Emelito on that Neith.
Shadow Nightmare is on the way, though, through the jungle right now. Keep an eye on him. Can he swing around the back and find it? He's got Kraken available. He just doesn't know position, and HP bar's got to watch himself as well. We'll find the Whirlpool. Instead, he's a double tap.
Double tap hurts so much. Jungle is even level with his opponent's mid lane. That's going to chunk Shadow Nightmare a lot.
It will. 6-2 now, as we did see Frezzy die there. Go back to base. He did finish off Sovereignty, though, as well, so a little bit more tanky for him. But once more, it's Dignitas' aggression. It's Epsilon that comes out on top.
Epsilon coming out on top a little bit short. It's interesting. 6-2 with the kills, but there's only 2,000 gold separating the teams. So the kills are showing up, but unlike the last time around, Epsilon not fighting the gold furies.
Yeah, not at the moment, at least for the time being.
Very true. It's early in the game.
That. I mean, the last one was at 6 minutes in game 1. This time around, it's not. Soul Eater was finished, though, for Emelito, which is that name of the item I could never remember. Also going for the Iqval as well, which is kind of a standard build we're seeing more and more out of the Hunters these days. Ren's across the way, though, playing this Rama. Went for the traditional sort of Devour's Gauntlets, and now will these Devour's Gauntlets help him?
Caught out, and Ram not going to get out of there. Beautiful double tap coming out of adapting, throwing the Mjolnir's attunement. And that's going to be 3-0-4/slide.
Adapting's one of those other Thors, just like Degar's, right, where he'll hold his abilities until he needs to use them.
Yep.
He had the hammer the whole time. He could have threw the double tap after the wall. He says, like, I'm going to hold this in case you roll away, and I can catch you back up again and keep the pressure on. Finds the pick. Really well played.
Variety still in the solo lane. Hasn't really moved.
Nope. He's actually up on gold, even though Dimmy has 3 assists in this lane. Just to the early pressure, you can see he's at the net worth just the second highest at the moment. Thanks to no Gold Fury's going down, but I think Gold Fury is being done right now, as you can see, by Epsilon. Frostiak is here, blinking in, looking for the steal, not going to find it. Instead, he gets bursted.
Circle of what?
That's what happened.
They call it Circle of Protection. That time around turned into Circle of Destruction.
Rafa got the kill from Shockwave. That's all that happened. Like, he shockwaves as Frostiak landed, and the burst killed him. Frostiak did not realize how much damage that Circle of Protection was going to do. He does now. He'll be in base reviewing those numbers, I tell you.
Yeah, he's going to sit out for another 5 seconds, 8 seconds right now.
Cover the wall.
Damage onto the left-hand lane. Tower dive by Epsilon. Emelito taken out by the initial stun, and finishing it up will be the backflip. Emelito gets the double kill.
Knowing Frostiak's dead, they can commit to the left-hand side here. Yamin was pressuring mid lane as well. Dimmy knew where Variety was, so there was a free opportunity to be able to pressure, gank the dual lane, pick up a double, and now they're also going to get the tower as well and extend their advantage. The swing is going to get bigger now after.
I mean, we mentioned before, Hindu Man, about how the games were different. It was 6-2 last time we mentioned it, and only 2,000 gold separated. And I asked, though not literally, where is the stuff after the stuff? They pick up the Gold Fury, they pick up the towers, 10-2, so there's 8 kills separating, but now that is a 5,000 gold separation. The gold is really where you want to look for in these games, and now it tells a much different tale.
Well, the look, honestly, for me, is going to be towards Variety to see if he can get something going, because the rest of his team struggles. So far, he's 0-0-0, top gold on his team as well. And he's currently got the item build that he's really looking for. Once that Heavenly Agility comes online, even more mobility, we'll see if he's going to get anything else as well.
Lidu tried to do the same thing they did in the long lane in the middle lane. Shadow Nightmare is here, has Kraken available, as is Ragnarok, jumps in, but the beads are good enough to deter the combo. Adapting falls on no one, but it's enough for Epsilon to push onto the tower. Frezzy going to suffer another death off of the Berserker's Barrage coming out from Adapting, and now Epsilon.
That's a lot of damage. A lot of damage from that Will Weaver. That just leaves Shadow. You need to be careful about the lazy back, though, because Adapting will potentially go in here. No ultimate available from Dimmy as it's already been used. Rafa happy to tank up the mid tower now as they're looking for the tier 2.
A tier 2. It seems very, very early for the tier 2. The roll was caught! Ram, as soon as he falls, he's going to, well, fall.
It's a good roll. He needs
Adapting,
a good roll.
Protecting. Looking for it, not able to grab it, gets it anyway! The long-range shot, and he's going to follow up with a kill onto the mid laner. Yaman gets credit, but the work was done by the jungler. Adapting had a quiet game last time around, not content to continue that strategy. 6-0-8 Hindu Man, and a lot of those 8 deserve the kill column.
The animals just went in 2 by 2 after that. Good pull from Frezzy though onto Yamin, but maybe he's just sealed his own fate there. Luckily the Spirit Ball missed, but the root will connect from Emelito. And basically, not a DSI because Variety's still holding on to his solo lane. Dimmy and Variety are having a special one-on-one fight at the moment.
This is a snowball out of control.
This is like, no, the solo lane right now is like ranked, where neither of them want to rotate.
Oh no! This is a 4-on-4 match with a cage fight on the corner. That's what's going on here, folks. We've got 2 separate matchups. We've got Epsilon versus Dignitas and Dimmy versus Variety.
I just said that, and then the rotation happens from Epsilon to stop putting pressure on that side, taking away the blue buff as well. There's no one really alive for Team Dignitas to do anything on that side now. And it's 15-2. Great pressure again from Epsilon. It was all about consistently picking. I love what Adapting did, though. He was technically zoning Shadow Nightmare from coming any further forward, as well as still looking for the kill on Rens. in the end, the Kraken comes out, and Abdaps is like, I don't think this Kraken will kill me outright.
Right.
I'm going to double tap and see if I survive. He got both the escape and the kill.
Adapting, like, I mean, he had a quiet game in game 1. Game 2, not the same.
No. Same god as well.
A little bit different. And it's funny because we sit here and we say he had a quiet game, but he did a lot of setup in game 1. There was a lot of Thor ults on the not in the back line for the kills, but in the middle of everything.
Talking about Thor ults, here we go again. Going to dunk down a variety. The bees have been used there to keep him alive, but the Yaman ult is in the sky. Sorry, the Dimmy ult. And on the backside, we will see the Wingus, and Adapting finds the kill. Unstoppable.
Love that play. Didn't even get the kill from the double tap. Only got one tap, but followed it up immediately with the basic to seal the deal. Adapting's bringing all of his toys to play today, and he's doing it consistently and fantastically. As I was sort of saying before, Man, game 1 was setup Thor. That was utility Thor. Let me set up for Yaman's burst and let him do his thing. This time around, it's my turn. He's the chair 1 today.
He is the chair 1 today. Renzo going to try and split push and get this tier 1. He will find it in trade. Give a little bit of gold back to the boys of Dignitas, but at the moment, I feel the back of Dignitas has been broken by Epsilon in this game. It's going to be very difficult to get back into it when you're 10,000 gold down at less than 20 minutes in the game.
We're over 10,000, 10,500 gold, 14 kills in the lead for Epsilon as we're approaching our 19th minute of competition here in game 2. And with Epsilon already up 1 game, Man, this is looking larger and larger like Epsilon's series.
It is, and now what can we see from Dignitas? Because at the moment, honestly, it started off well for them. We saw good signs from them when they did that gank on Duo, but they've just not been able to get those kills with the Krakens. That's the big key. They've managed to get the Krakens off and keep targets sometimes, but sometimes they've just not found the death.
Timmy trying to find his rotation available. Even the ward's getting crushed down by Epsilon. Fire Giant, everybody's here. Everybody's local. Epsilon should go for what Epsilon should go for the options, so like hand over foot. Epsilon, what they do is they engage the Fire Giant, and they take it. And if Dignitas shows up to stop them, they take Dignitas. Either way, just go for it. Dignitas has no interest in contesting this Hindu, and so free Fire Giant for Epsilon.
That was the key with Epsilon there, that they took their time and was patient about it because they wanted to see if they were going to come in. Take into account, Rent has snipes from the sky that can come in. Raw also has that big damage snipe that could also influence it. Circle Protection, sorry, not Circle Protection, Kraken also influence it. They had to be careful about going for it, and when they realized there was nobody coming, that's when they committed and picked it up.
The entirety of Epsilon making their way into the middle lane will ride along with Adapting as he makes his land in the middle. Frezzy eliminated before the Wrath of Terra can even come out. Damage pushed on.
And now it's a 4v5, and Melito already split pushing this right-hand Phoenix. It will fall. The boys of Team Dignitas will not try and defend this one. Will they try for mid when it respawns? I doubt it. They're going to hold at the Titan. Luckily for them, they do have a tier 2 in left, so it's going to have to be a little bit of a slowdown for Epsilon, unless they want to just try and end now.
Well, Frezzy's only level 12, so he'll be up in 10 seconds. That should be enough. Wrath of Terra is still disruptive. It might be able to impact things, but Epsilon going to go for the Phoenixes first.
The
we'll
level
see them take out the tower and then
lead.
the Phoenix.
Like the level and experience lead, again, you can see it on the map. Like most of the boys of Epsilon approaching 20. The highest level on the side of Dignitas, level 17 on Variety.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a crippling situation. This is one thing that people don't realize. They might be behind on experience, but it's not necessarily because they didn't farm well enough. It's because towers give experience. Gold Fury gives experience. Fire Giant gives experience. They all mount up and cause these leads.
Waiting for the opportunity right now. Epsilon is very much thinking about this next fight. This next fight will be the game should they come up on top. Dignitas know that, so they're playing it carefully.
As you can see, there's a lot of gold in hand too, so I think that's what they're looking to do more than anything now. Let's just go back to base. We've got plenty of time with the Fire Giant. There's only one Phoenix remaining for us to deal with. Exactly. Maybe we can get a pick as well in the jungle. And if we can make a pick, it's a 4v5 against a very weak base.
Exactly. As I said, Epsilon understands that this could very well be the last fight of the game, so they're going to make sure they have all of the tools available to them when they go into it. It's very easy, Hindu, to take a look at this and say, this team is up over 10,000 gold. Why don't you just go for it? But how many times have we sat here at the desk and watched SPL matches get thrown, for lack of a better term?
Well, you know what we said about Emilito earlier, and we never know what build he's gone. He just picked up a Fatalis as his last item.
Gotta go fast.
Could have gone for crit. He's like, nah,
gotta go fast.
The ridiculous amount of attack speed on a Neith. Let's go with that. There's very little anything in that build, really, apart from speed.
He's just going fast.
Looks like he's going very fast. He should be able to get back down this left-hand lane very quickly for the last Phoenix. Let's see how it works out for him, though. Only Blink 1 and Beads 1 at 22 minutes in the game. Amelito is the true hero we deserve. Maybe not the one we want. We'll find out.
Adapting with the 808s and heartbreaks in the jungle right now. Epsilon coming down the left-hand lane, looking to make their final siege. Amelito one last time will charge up that World Weaver. In comes the ultimate from Frezzy, and damage all on top of the tree man. He's not even there. Dimmy takes credit for that one. Yaman gets credit for Ren's. Fire shards rain from the sky. Frostiak doing what he can, but Amelito kills the dog before he makes it to the Phoenix. Epsilon coming up on top of this one. Everyone's dead but Variety.
No,
that seems to be the motif for the game, and the Titan will fall 2-0. The series goes to Epsilon.
Great performance from the boys of Epsilon once again. They're going to make themselves 6-0 now in the season. Dignitas fall to 1-7, clear bottom at the moment at this SPL.
Fantastic performance by the guys on Epsilon, and I mean, it's interesting to see how well they do. It's interesting to see how well they do in two different styles of games. The first one, they had a lot of sort of attention to them being aggressed on by the counter engagements. The second one, it was all their show.
Yeah, it was a really good performance throughout the whole game from them. They didn't really misstep too much.
Yeah.
Maybe once or twice, but there was one situation where I felt they could have done a little bit better, but overall it was something like little tweaks here and there. Epsilon on top.
Yeah, loved what I saw out of adapting. That's the performance. As I said, he didn't have a poor performance in game one, but with the reputation he sort of garnered for himself, we expect the extravagant games like game two to be the norm, which is really just, kind of unfair to him. But in fairness, he gets it back in game two.
You were right, he was Geb. I wasn't 100% certain because I saw him die to the Wisp, but Geb gets first blood after getting Kraken here. He survived, and Cataclysm, Shockwave, thank you for first blood. He jumps for joy, not really, he didn't need to, and picks up the kill and walks away with Wisps today.
I mean, again, it's a Geb, but it's Raffer. He's going to try and deal out that damage just as much as he's going to try and deal out the CC.
And he's supporting that situation. Like, if you survive, you're like, just press ult and hope I can at least get my ultimate off to cause some issues for him.
It's a jungle blood.
Got himself the kill. It set Epsilon off nicely, honestly, because it was 2-1 after that engagement, if you remember.
Yeah.
And from there, it just continued to snowball. Ended up 6-2, 10-2.
Just kept rolling. So no surprise here. 8-0-13 was the final slash line for our player of the game, adapting, and he's going to actually join us today here. He's on the line right now. So hello, adapting. Congratulations on your win. How you doing today?
Hello, guys. Doing good, man. Happy to take another 2-0 victory.
That's going to put you guys at 6-0 for the split. You guys are undefeated. Last time around, it was sort of your first split. Now, you guys are looking really strong. How does it feel to be undefeated right now?
It feels good. It's nice, but we just can't let it expect to go undefeated. For the rest of the season, we just gotta hope to keep it up, but
it's a good call. I mean,
don't really expect it.
It's going to be a very long season ahead. I mean, it's still early days, but just want to talk to you for a minute, Adapting, about your rise, because let's be honest, you came from I5, who were a Challenger Cup team, then joined with the boys, joined up with Rafa to form this team now, and now people are starting to notice how good you really are. How's this feeling for you? Because you're getting more and more viewers as time goes on.
It feels really good. It's really cool, to get this recognition. I'm really honored and really grateful for it all. Yeah.
I love what you're doing in and out of the game as well. I mean, you know me, I'm always very, very vocal about players really trying to maximize what they can, and we see you streaming a lot, and that's really exciting to see. Sort of, what are your goals with the SPL? You guys just try to win and try to do things there, or do you have sort of other thoughts in mind as well?
Well, I mean, the goal is obviously just to get to Worlds. That's what we want to do. Yep. We want to win Worlds.
Awesome. I
need one of you team to do it. Like, jeez. Honestly, one of the questions I've got for you last, Adapting, is next game, you're up against London Conspiracy on Sunday. Do you have anything special planned for them, or is it just like another day at the office for you? What's your game plan going into this one?
Nah, nothing special. We're just gonna run, some our usual things.
The usual junky things.
Just play to win and see how it winds up. Love it, man. Anyway, we'll let you go and celebrate. Anything you want to shout out to your friends, family, enemies?
Yeah, shout outs to all the viewers, everyone supporting us, Epsilon, obviously. And shoutouts to all my teammates for being too scared to actually do the interview themselves, and Gordon Ramsay for being very calming.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adapting. Have a great day.
Gordon Ramsay, did you hear what he said at the end there?
I did.
Did you hear when he was stressed? He watched Gordon Ramsay in the background while playing.
Interesting.
It's true. That's how you get over it.
So just have somebody
Shouting
and yelling.
Else.
Yeah, I guess that's how you deal with it. Everybody's got something different. Anyway, we're going to bring something different to you just a little bit. Enemy versus Denial will be the North American game on the card. So stay tuned. More SPL coming at you right now.